Hey, what is up? Crypto G here. Just got a crazy game for you today. Played last night. I basically where I ended up sacrificing both of my rooks. One kind of by mistake, arguably both by mistake, and losing literally all my pieces. I had two attacking pieces left, a knight and a queen, and I still won the game. I just wanted to show you this setup. This is usually what happens when I play black, quite often when I play black. And I'm playing fairly well. You can see I'm 1479 rated player. If I'm playing at around this level, sometimes I, creep up above 1500. I have done recently a couple of times. But, this is it's not untypical. It's not untypical. Sometimes these two bishops get traded and this pawn ends up here. Sometimes this knight ends up here. Sometimes this knight ends up here. But, this is typical. But I've been watching Levy Rosman, hence, the title of the video, Learning with Levy. And on his latest kind of lessons series, where he's been playing with his subs who are rated between, last night, the one he recorded a few days ago was rated between 1100 and 1400. Obviously, I'm 1479. So I was quite interested to see what he had to say. Now, he was like, okay, for, the start of the London, if someone was going to start a London, bringing out that to there, that there, blah, blah, blah. This is your answer. And like I showed you in the last example, this would have been my answer usually to bring out the bishop. And the reason you're doing that is to give this queen a free path for a check, obviously, if he takes the pawn, and also to put pressure onto this pawn here. And now, obviously, he's closed the door, so he can't protect that with that. So I'm like, yeah, great, get out there. But Levy also said, hey, look, if you watch these, study them for a bit because, you're kind of meant to set things up before you just go off rushing gung-ho, which I didn't. I just went rushing gung-ho and, I think I'm meant to bring this out. I'm meant to bring that up. So then these two squares are completely covered. If I'd brought this out the last go instead of moving the queen and he brings that out, then, and then I can move there, so he can't move to there, and boom, that's both of these. But I didn't do that. So I just go, and this is where it starts getting a little crazy. Okay, so he goes down. I'm like, okay, obviously he's got my rook. What can I do now? I can compound my blunder. Whee! But no, there was method in my madness, because even though obviously I was going to lose that pawn, this was more about opening up this line here to check, and that's basically what it was. So yes, okay, I've compounded because once this bishop does move, I'm going to lose another rook. But like I'm in a gung-ho mood, so here we go, gung-ho. Almost blundered again by going there and giving the queen access out here and letting some nasty stuff going around here. And obviously he pawn's hanging, but obviously he wants my rook, so he takes it. So I'm like, right, okay, let's go. This is it. I want this bishop out here, but I don't want it out there yet. I don't want it out there yet, actually, because I could get that and pawn down, maybe, I don't know, and maybe get that, but I don't want to exchange queens because obviously I've just lost the rook. So let's go. And yeah, obviously here I checked because I realized he can't move down because otherwise he gives me the rook back. And I thought, I'll take that if you're going to give that straight back to me and then try and work out my problems down here. But obviously he doesn't want to give me the rook straight back. So he moves his king, lose the right to castle. And I'm like, okay, great. Shall I bring the bishop out now? No, let's bring the white bishop out. Let's develop more. Put pressure on this, because that's another thing I've been trying to do that Levy talks about, is playing with tempi and trying to keep tension on the squares. So now there's obviously big tension on this. He then moves down to here, I guess, looking to come down here and start creating all sorts of, take my knight and get me in a nice quick checkmate. Let's checkmate this fool. So I'm like, okay, boom. And I don't go up yet. Instead, I'm like, instead of going straight there and allowing this, because then, yeah, he could probably lose the queen and get me in checkmate. Um, if my queen's there on its own, because I can't carry on pressuring him forever. He'll find a way out. Um, so I was like, yeah, that'll block it. He then obviously guards this square because without without the rook there, and without this bishop there, he can now move down. But with the bishop there, that's obviously checkmate. Well, not checkmate because he could run away, but he'd lose his queen. So he comes out with the knight and blocks there. So I'm like, okay, now's my time. And then I was like, yeah, this is amazing because I've actually got checkmate here. Because if he moves his queen anywhere other than there, and obviously in the heat of the game, I was like, wherever he moves his queen, this is checkmate. Because if he moves his queen there, boom, checkmate. Yeah. If he moves his queen, obviously there, it's still checkmate because, of course, the bishop's there. So I was thinking, oh my God, I've got him after, this is great. I've done it wrong, but it's great. It's worked. I've got checkmate. If he moves his queen anywhere, I've got checkmate. But of course, he could have moved his queen down there, offering me the exchange, either by way of knight, which obviously I wouldn't have taken. I would have taken it this way so that I get his rook for nothing. And then he could have gone like that. And then yeah, sure, I've still, I can move this here, but he's got escape squares. He can now start moving around himself. Maybe I'll get a pawn really deep in the territory, but he's got a rook. He's got eyes on another rook. And it'd be looking quite good for him with that exchange. So obviously I didn't want to do the exchange. So we both see it as that, which is mad because we were both on the same rating, 1479, as you can see up in the top left-hand corner here. Yeah, we're both 1479. So I think, great. Well, the only way he can stop checkmate, because my queen's going to slide over and provide that cover, is if he takes the brown bishop. And, usually when you think these things, you see the move that doesn't, and the person does it. But this time, he actually takes my bishop. So I'm like, cool. See you later, queen. Boom, he takes that. Boom, I take that. Boom, he takes that. And so now he's like, right, let's pick up material. So I'm like, let's get a queen. Because I know, obviously, I can't just keep him in. I can't get checkmate with just my queen. And for some reason, I'm just seeing it now. Why didn't I just go up with that? Why didn't I just go up with that? Why did I take this huge long way around? This is really close. Boom. 1, 2, 3. That's so mad. I don't know. Oh, I think I know why. Because I didn't want to give him this, maybe. But that's silly because obviously check. Bang, bang. Yeah, and then that's there. So yeah, I don't know why. I didn't. I'm 1479. That's why. If I was 1700, it'd be a different matter. So anyway, I think, right, I'm just going to get a queen. And then there we go. There's the second rook. It doesn't even need to get it with the bishop. So now, as you can see, all of my pieces that lived on this back rank, apart from this knight, which hasn't moved, have all gone. They've all been taken. Excuse me. More than half my pawns are gone. He's still got like 5 attacking pieces. But again, what Levy talks about is like, how free are we? This guy's not in the game. This bishop is pretty restricted in its movement, and it needs to kind of hang around for protection of the king. So really, only these 3 pieces are playing. 1, 2, 3. So obviously, he's going to try and get me, and I'm like, okay. And he's like, right, let's bring in that. But I'm like, no. And then that's a blunder. I think he's thinking, oh yeah, he wants to dive behind there, but of course there's no pawn here to protect him. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get a queen. he comes back to there because he realizes that's where he wants his king to hide. So check, and boom, I get his rook. But now, of course, my queen is all tucked away, which is, by the way, if you're wondering if I didn't see that, I did see that. I could have got his rook earlier by just checking with this queen, but then this would have been tucked away, and suddenly bishop is a bit freer to roam around and hassle my king. So that's why I didn't take it. I just realized I can get it. I want to keep the king on this rank. So now we move around, and here, and I totally forget, and I think here he should have, oh no, where was it? He could have got me, and it's a bit later. Here, he should have taken, I think he should have taken with there, weaken that pawn, and maybe something happens a bit later if he gets unpinned. But he doesn't. He decides to check me with that. And I'm like, no, there's no way you can checkmate me here. There's just no way. So he gets me in double check here. And then I remember that his bishop is pinned. And I'm like, yeah, I see the safe space. Boom, there we go. There's my safe space. So now it's just a matter of checkmating him. And obviously he realizes that, he needs, I'm about to kind of just move over here, because obviously he wouldn't have been able to take it. Sorry. He realizes I'm about to move over here and then just devastate him. So he moves one last desperate attempt, hoping that I do some kind of setup move or something. Maybe move that king, maybe move that queen up there, and then he can win back one of my queens. He can suddenly win back one of my queens, and he's in a bit of a better position. And it's better. He's got a passed pawn here. It's looking better, but that doesn't happen because I don't do a stupid setup move. I just simply take his bishop. Goes like that, and he's looking to kind of come there, but obviously I would have still had that escape route. All of these squares are cut off, but I would have been able to take that pawn. So it didn't matter. That's it. End of. So yeah, quite an interesting game. I've never had a game quite so mad where, not since I've been learning chess, but, where I've literally lost every damn piece. Apart from the queen, the knight, and 4 pawns, No, actually, I still had 6 pawns at the end. Still had 6 pawns, but, all of my attacking pieces, and then I had to go and get another queen, hide my king in plain sight, and then win the game. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that. I did, and I'll see you for the next one. And thank you, Levy, for the lesson. I'll link him down below. Okay, cheers. Bye.